Well, folks, it's been a good run. It's been a good fucking run. This pod has been a real treat to do. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I don't show any signs of stopping. But unfortunately, it will now cost me. For the first time, I need to pay for my sins. I will be suffering real-world ramifications now for continuing to produce this podcast, put it out for the people. It started off as a humble soccer show a couple years ago, and it did take a bit of a turn in a markedly aggressive direction a couple years ago, but it's been pretty smooth sailing overall. A few bumps in the road, but it's been great overall. Cannot complain. But unfortunately now I need to pay for my sins because I'm now suffering real world consequences from having produced this pod, folks. I have been kicked off my Sunday League 7-a-side soccer team. The guy who runs it is no longer comfortable with me running this podcast. I was asked to stop doing the podcast if I wanted to stay on the team, and I did not, because I still think it's important for me to occasionally maybe be free to talk about Zelensky without worrying about whether or not I'll be able to play at center back on Saturday. So that's where I'm at, guys. It's a weird spot we're in, but Dilo and I will discuss what's happening, and we're going to strategize on how to find me a new team, and I think I might need to enlist the help of the Italians. In other news, Jeffrey Epstein's client list is out. We will discuss that in great depth. It is one of the more anticipated stories of the past few months. There are some names on the list which were surprising, some less so. Donald J. Trump is on the list. We'll discuss whether he's still the man. Funnily enough, Berlusconi not on the list. Fucking funny how that works, you know? You cannot be blackmailed if you're already doing the thing voluntarily in your own private life that they're blackmailing you for. Berlusconi is impervious to those methods, you see. He cannot be entrapped. He cannot be tricked into fucking a minor because he does it freely. He did it freely. I'm talking about him like he's still alive because Berlusconi never dies. Let's be honest. He's fucking, he lives on in our hearts. But it's funny. No European politicians on the list. None. Only Americans tricked into fucking the minors down in Little St. James. And a couple of Brits, but we don't count them as Europeans because they're cold-blooded lizard-like people. So yeah, it just doesn't work on any European politicians. No European politicians on the Epstein list. No French MPs, none of them, because they're all just having orgies freely every week. I mean, it doesn't work on those people. Understand? They already had videos of them fucking 15-year-old prostitutes on. It's a funny thing. Like, if you actually had a French guy, I think the age of consent in France is probably like 15. If they had fucking French people down there, it wouldn't work. There would be videos of them fucking 15-year-olds, and they'd be like, yeah, this is legal, you know? So, anyway, we'll talk about all that. Guys, Epstein, weird figure, huh? Because I mean, we will need to discuss this on the pod this week. And by the way, maybe this is part of the reason why I'm no longer persona grata on my soccer team is because of episodes like this where we get into the fucking weeds, because that's exactly what we're going to be doing on the fucking pod this week, boys. We're getting into the weeds. Like discussing whether Epstein was actually a sympathetic figure, you see, whose lifestyle is to be aspired to replicate. Because although it is true that he was soliciting minors for prostitution, you see, although he was running an international child sex trafficking ring, he did own a property in Paris. I'm Sam Adamo, and this is the Bordello. All right, what's going on, folks? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the Bordello. Well, it's been a good run, and the pod has brought us all great joys over the years, and laughs, and some angry moments, some yelling, but it's all been productive, and it's all been helpful. But now, the pod, unfortunately, has yielded its first dilemma for me personally. Dilo is smiling off camera. Do you have any clue what it is I'm going to talk about here?
No.
Okay, well, I've talked to you about this in private very briefly. I haven't really gone into much detail. We're going to get into it now. We have a real dilemma on the pod because I have been kicked off my Sunday League team. Dilo, I've been kicked off my 5-a-side Sunday League local soccer team, which plays in a private league, because of concern. A couple of guys on the team golf in Kanawake. They golf there, and they caught wind of some things that may or may not have gone down in recent months. And without having asked any questions without reaching out to me prior. They said, we think this is for the best. I think Sam should maybe take a little bit of a break. Sam, you're on hiatus this year. The decision was communicated to me while I was out of the country. I have returned for what I thought would be, I've since returned from abroad and thought I would be returning for the second half of the season. And I was informed that my services will no longer be needed. I was told that it has nothing to do with my footballing abilities. I was told that it is entirely to do with not the fact that anyone personally cares, but just the fear of backlash that might arise in the event that one of them, I don't know, becomes president or something and is running for prime minister, and someone wants to run a deep search on, I don't know, Google their name or whatever, and like the soccer team comes up and I'm there, like I'm Hitler, you know? You look up one of these guys' names and there on the game sheet with them is Sam Adamo. It might as well be Francisco Franco, the dictator from Spain. Was it Francisco Franco? I think
Francisco something.
Oh, it was definitely Franco.
Oh, okay. Then.
I'm going with Francisco. I don't know if it was Francisco or not. I'm going with Francisco. By the way, the echo in here is fucking absolutely buck wild. It's brutal. There's no soundproofing in the back anymore. We were supposed to put a curtain up, but it had like horizontal lines going across it the wrong way, and it looked fucking brutal. So we got chip paint in the background here now. I mean, my life is just falling apart right now. I got no soccer anymore. Soccer's been robbed of me. They told me, Sam, if you stop the pod, you can come back on the team.
They said that?
They said, we're concerned that, in essence, because I'm still doing the pod, because I show no signs of stopping talking about stuff freely off the dome, or talking about hot button issues which might arise in the news, which I might want to riff on, joke about, or just talk about, that it could occur again down the line, that I say something legitimately controversial that gets me in trouble for real. Because the idea was, okay, no harm, no foul with anything that's happened so far. So far, you're good. We were a little concerned. We had some questions because of stuff that happened on like the golf course or whatever. I'm not even really fully sure what exactly happened, how they became aware of the fact that I guess I talk about shit in a way that's kind of unscripted. Like they knew I did a pod, and I think they would sometimes see clips, but I guess a lot of them wouldn't watch it really seriously. So I think once it got flagged, a couple of them, I was informed, began watching a couple of episodes and were like, oh shit, he's talking about fucking Ukraine and Israel. What's he doing? Yeah, he could say something fucked up. It could happen again. Listen, if he's willing to just stop, then this issue goes away. But as long as he's doing this, there's a chance that he could maybe get himself in trouble. Articles will get written about him. He'll get doxxed. He could be, people could tweet about him. It's like, I don't know how big they think the fucking pod is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what kind of reach they think I have. I mean, I guess in some way it's a show of faith that, hey, maybe, what do they think, this could fucking blow up and I'm going to say a thing and people are going to get mad about it on Twitter and thousands of people are going to tweet about it. And somehow I'm going to become like persona non grata in polite society. Like these people know me. They know that I'm not that unhinged. Perhaps they think I do. Perhaps they think it is unhinged of me to just talk about stuff that is going on in the world. Most people do not. That is kind of, that is normal. It is normal that most people don't discuss hot button issues in a public forum. I happen to because it's where I feel comfortable and it's a thing that I find gives me, some juice. It gives me juice, and it enables me to work out ideas, which I occasionally might take and, bring on stage. But that was the root of the issue. I was informed that because I am not stopping the pod and there's a chance that issues could arise in theory, they just want to kind of reconsider my position. That is what I was informed of. So that's where we're at now. I'm without a soccer team as a result. And I was told that apparently in my absence, the couple of aggrieved players who were, I don't even know if they were aggrieved, they're just concerned, who raised the issue, brought it up to the team and it went to a team vote. And I think a couple of the guys said, yeah, it's probably best that we keep Sam off the team when he comes back. Let's just not have him back. That was 3 people that voted that way. And then the rest of the team were asked if they had any objections. And apparently everyone cowered away and no one said anything. Privately, they have reached out to me to say, yeah, this is stupid. But in the moment, they did not say anything. And so, it is a thankless job, Dilo, to be the man in the arena on YouTube for 400 subscribers, humbly sharing your opinions about world events, suffering real-world consequences for joking about these things, for riffing on them, for doing all the things that you are so lucky to be involved with on a weekly basis. I mean, these are the ramifications of what can happen, apparently. Now, again, I'm aware of this. I always have been. I never really thought that it would happen in something so small, like so small time as this. But alas, this is the first time I have ever felt negative ramifications of speaking in an open forum. I have not been beholden to an employer for a considerable amount of time, and I've been free to kind of say whatever I want as a citizen of the world, who's not really concerned about the ramifications of giving an opinion on a thing or observing a thing. But it has unfortunately come to bite me in the ass when it comes to sports, because I am beholden to the guy who puts me on the game sheet. And he, unfortunately, was one of the couple people that thought, yeah, it might be a good idea to not even bother with him anymore, because you never know what could happen. He might say something out of school. Who knows? So far, everything checks out. We kind of checked in with him to say, hey, man, here's what we're a little worried about. I was like, oh, that's very easily explainable. What are you guys, nuts? And they said, okay, fair enough. Maybe best that you don't do the pod anymore. I said, well, that's not happening. So just know I'm now giving shit up to do this pod. Listeners listening to this, enjoying this, hopefully, I am giving stuff up to do this pod, which is insane. It is insane that it is something of such a low level of importance that is where we are at. We are at a point where people feel it necessary to try to cover their own asses, even in their own private life. Even in their own private life, there was no desire to change my name on a game sheet, make me ungoogleable. And it's like, okay, what am I going to do, right? Do I think they're being pussies? Yes, and I told them that. Now, the problem with this is, and this doesn't really help my case as I'm trying to, come across as a well-rounded person, but the ultimate way I could own them is just by saying, bro, you're being gay. Stop being gay. You guys are being gay. It was 3 guys on the team, and everyone else is yeah, everyone else is being gay, right? But I can't say, hey, the rest of the guys think you're being gay, because then it doesn't look good. It looks defensive. It looks immature, but it's also the most bang on way. We discussed this last week, how sometimes it's just the best way you could tell a guy, hey, shape up, stop being this way. And it's not even a homophobic thing, of course. It's just the best term that exists. For some reason saying lame, stop being lame, doesn't have the same bite to it, right? But whatever. You could also just say, hey, you're being a bitch, stop being a bitch. But then that's also kind of not really helpful, because I look like this toxic guy who's you're a bitch, everyone's a bitch. I'm the only one who's, got a sense of humor around here. And then it's well, Sam, it wasn't funny. It wasn't supposed to be funny. It was a commentary on what was going on. It was just a clip that was cut in a way that was meant to cue up a story. But so I'm off the team now because I guess, I don't know, they didn't want my name associated with the team. Now, these are guys who I'm not really that friendly with. They're friends of friends type of thing. And, that's how it is now. Do I think they're nuts? Yeah, I do. But do I understand it? Yeah, I also do. I get where they're coming from. That's the thing. I understand the look of it. And some people are not in a position where they feel comfortable even risking anything a little bit, because an environment now has been fostered in the world whereby anytime, anyone opens their mouth, they're always worried that it will get used against them. So people are kind of living in a state of fear constantly, where they're hey, I could get in trouble, which is a great place to be, by the way, if you want to control people and their thoughts and just freedom of expression and being real. When you're in private and you don't think anyone's listening, you're going to kind of let it fly a little differently than when you're being interviewed in a press conference, right? That's just how it is. But I think now people are kind of even afraid to interact in like private, in basically totally private settings with people because of fear that it might somehow get out. And it's like, hey, like, not for nothing, but you just work for a company. You're just some guy. No one's coming for you. But even them, the people that need to worry the least about this shit are now concerned about it. It's the kind of self-censorship that, you know, that is dangerous, frankly, you know, where people are no longer willing to give the benefit of the doubt or just take little risks, and where people who don't care are afraid to be shunned by people who do care, right? And so here's my solution. I realized, so obviously, again, I understand where they're coming from, D'Lo, right? I understand, like, logically, it's rational. Their thinking is, we like that word on this pod, it's rational, okay? They're thinking, with him on the team, there is a very, very, very tiny risk, and so he is not worth any risk, because fuck that, I don't want to screw up my life at all, or the lifestyle that I've set up. And, also, not everyone is not everyone wants to get dragged into stuff like what I'm doing, right? Where I'm like, just for however few people are listening, hypothetically, the whole world could listen to this. And I'm comfortable with that reality. Just talking, right? Just talking freely is just riffing off the brain and talking about shit that's going on. Sometimes joking about it, sometimes not. Usually joking, but often kind of just talking about stuff in the absurdity, what's going on in the world. Some people don't want to do that in an open forum. Some people are just happy to be anonymous, and they want to stay anonymous, and that's okay. I understand that. But so I'm currently without a soccer team is the bottom line. And here's my solution, I've realized, is I think I need to kind of like make amends with the Italians who I've been taking a shit on for a very long time. I think I need to just lean into that guy. I think I should just now become the guy that I've been painted as sometimes. I get that some of the shit that's said on the pod is a little out of pocket, but I'm not that guy. I'm a pretty dialed in individual. Most of what I'm saying has, I don't know, I think it's thought out. At least it's not coming from a crazy place. I'm not just saying the N-word for fun. Like, even when I'm saying a thing's gay, there's a reason why I'm saying it. It's because it's gay. I'm not just saying homophobic shit off the cuff. I'm saying a thing that someone might say, hey, when you say that's gay, that's homophobic. But that's a debatable thing. It's just the way that I'm choosing to use a word. I'm not out here just saying God hates, God hates fruitcakes. I'm not out here just saying that to be inflammatory. There's like tact to what I'm saying. But maybe now I should just be a guy who speaks without tact. Maybe I should just be like a Northeastern Italian guy who just says, you know what, fuck them. I'm picking people who I don't like and I'm just going after them and I'm saying, not for nothing, but these people need to get their fucking act together a little bit. Maybe I'll just be that guy. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I'll just start playing for the Italians in Laval. I'll start playing Total Campo. I'll start doing it. I'll play with the plumbers in Laval. Won't have a fucking issue with me is those cocksuckers. They're going to say, shit, we think you should have got at him a little harder, You know what I'm saying? I did an episode after Hamas bombed Israel before this whole mess started in that region a couple months ago. And, if the Italians who would be on my hypothetical team, which doesn't exist, but if they were on, if I was on this team and they heard that episode, they would say, yeah, we think you should have got at both of them harder. The Arabs, fuck those guys. I hate them. They're all fucking terrorists. So these fucking muzzies. What's wrong with them? And then the Jews, they'd say, they control the world. Fuck them. I hope they kill each other. I'm like fucking trying to have like a nuanced take. Well, on one hand, we got this. And on the other hand, we got this. And here's what it all might mean. And here's who's really at play. And the guys on my team are like, yeah, you sound really smart. You know that? It's not how people sound in Laval, but I'm just kind of taking I don't know. I guess I'm taking on a more just fucking just transatlantic. I mean, transatlantic means across the Atlantic. So like from America to the UK, for example, there's a thing called the transatlantic accent, which is like how people would speak in movies in the 1930s. They'd be like, well, I tell you, there's no real reason for me to do that. You know, it was kind of like halfway in between. That was a weird accent I just did, but it was kind of halfway in between. If you heard old movies, some people in New York would kind of sound half British, but not really. Well, I'm an American, and this is how I sound. And some people actually spoke that way. That was like a transatlantic accent. I guess I mean transatlantic because it's like across the Atlantic, but like vertically, like from here down to like Baltimore. Those Italians. You like the fucking Maniscalco act out here with the right hand. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's what I'm gonna do, man. I gotta make amends with the Laval Italians. I can't play with real people anymore in the suburbs because these guys are suburban kids. Okay, they're suburban kids who now work white collar jobs, and you know. I could obviously like fucking name them and say, fuck these guys that are all being, I will not do that because I have no intention. I have no ill will toward them. That's the thing. I've talked to them privately and they're like, Sam, listen, if you're going to keep talking about stuff, like this could happen again. I was like, yeah, there's a real chance it does. Like, you know, not because I'm saying anything that's out of pocket, but because it could happen again. What am I going to do? Promise and say, yeah, it won't happen again? That implies regret. I don't regret what happened, really. I mean, there's a little bit of regret because like the clip was kind of like, the clip that caused the issue, which like flagged the pod, was just not cut well. So I guess like I regret the fact that, you know, it implied a thing which was like not accurate. It like painted a bit of a weird picture as to what might have been discussed on the pod. The problem is when you actually go back to that episode, it is a little bit scattered and all over the place, and individual things are said in isolation without having fully been like expanded upon because it was very like back and forth. But that, anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not really a problem. It's not really a problem because it's long in the past and it's been discussed, it's been hashed out. But this is a real issue here. This is a real issue where I now have no team and I now need to go to the Italian plumbers and say, guys, you let me in. And I'm a philosopher to these people. You understand? And I'm not by any means an intellectual, but to these people I am. And it will be a problem. They're going to start thinking I'm gay. I'm going to be the guy now who's like, oh, Sam's a little, you know, what does he like, Shakespeare? Like, you know, I don't, but they might think I do, right? I should just go start playing for them and just be like the gay. I should just start quoting fucking Shakespeare. I should just start quoting literature. You ever do that, dude? You ever like meet a guy from like St. Leonard or something, or a guy from Laval, and you're having a conversation with him and you feel like he's just not following, but he's kind of like nodding along? Like, yeah, bro, that's deep.
Just throw like the most like intellectual like connection to some story that you know they have no clue.
It doesn't even have to be, but like it does happen sometimes. And again, I'm not really trying to punch down here because these are like, because these people are actually very shrewd. They're very shrewd people. They don't really live lives, of like, they don't live like lives of like desperate people where they don't really have a clue what's going on. A lot of these guys can make it work. But that's what's impressive. What I find most impressive about Italians here who don't really understand the English language that well is they can find a way to make it work. You know what I mean? They don't really understand the language that well, but they fucking make it work. They know when to just smile and nod and say nothing. A lot of the time, they're very loud. If you go to like a cafe, bro, what are you talking about, bro? That's my fucking... Bro, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's a lot of that. It's very loud. But then when they have to be, they're quiet. And you know when they're quiet, it's because they don't understand what's going on. They don't know what's being said. So, for example, if they're watching... Again, if it's kind of like understanding a language but not knowing how to speak it. Does that ever happen to you? Sometimes that happens to me in French, I find. I understand everything that's being said on television, but sometimes the words don't quite come to my brain. It's the same thing with these motherfuckers. It's the same thing with these guys. It's like they have like this ability to understand the English language. It is their first language, but they cannot really like express it that well. So sometimes you'll say, if you say the dichotomy between this and that, they're right there, they're gone. They're out of it. You know? And I don't even use big words. Sometimes I use words that are, I guess, a little, I don't know, a little, they're not bottom of the barrel. Some of the words I use just naturally, I actually think I should simplify my speech sometimes. Sometimes I get caught with my pants down because I fucking, misuse a word. And it's not even for any, it's not even because I'm like trying to stretch it and like try to sound smart, but it's because I just genuinely, I'm actually not the best example. I'm not the best person to fucking, pointing out this shit about these folks because I am not, it's not like I'm, the most well-spoken individual in all of Canada. Actually, for that reason, it might be okay for me to point out these things because I'm kind of like one of them. I'm not really punching down because I actually struggle with this sometimes as well. But what'll happen is I sometimes, Dilo, will like not know the simple word for a thing, so I'll try to reach a little bit for the one word that comes to mind, and it's like a word that sounds a little fancy, but it's not really because I'm trying to sound fancy. It's because it's just the only word that comes to mind. It's because I don't quite sometimes come up with the words off the dome as quickly as I should. But what'll happen is, again, so again, I gotta just go into the dressing room and say, gentlemen, that's the first thing. You just say gentlemen. They'll never say it. You go, gentlemen, how we all doing? Everyone well? Right there and then they'll be like, who's this fucking guy trying to impress? What the fuck is this guy? This guy taking up the ass or what, bro? What the fuck, Should go by Samuel. Call me Samuel. Just start talking about how I grew up like going to Hanukkah. Because I did. We have Jewish friends. And I would like go to Hanukkah with them. And I would just talk about the menorah. They light the candles on the menorah. Right there, they're out of it. They don't know what the menorah is. They know like that thing with the candles, that candle holder there. Bah, that candle thing there. That's what they say. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's that candle thing there. They light the candles there. It's very much, again, a lot of people don't understand Montreal Italian very well. Another lesson, they'll say there at the end of a lot of sentences. Bah, it's all right there. So, I'm at Carrefour Laval there, and I'm shopping. And, I get back to the car, and I try to unlock it there, and it's a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that candle thing there that they use. Oh, the menorah? Yeah. I once read from the Torah. It's funny. I sound like a Sephardic Jew. Apparently, not only do I look it, but I also sound like a Sephardic Jew. Apparently, I have a Sephardic, like, Moroccan accent when I speak Hebrew, when I try to read the Romanized version of the Torah. And again, right now, it's like I fucking right hook to the jaw. They're seeing stars. They don't know what's going on. Maybe I'll just do that. I'll just torture like some fucking, these fucking People's Party voters in like the East End. You have been in a position, right, where like you feel like a guy's a little out of it, right?
Yeah.
Some of them actually try hard. Like some of them do watch news and I guess that's admirable. I don't mean to down talk to these people like, oh, good for you, cute, yeah, good. Watch the news, try to learn a little bit. That's not what I'm saying, but some of them genuinely do. I find as a lot of them age, ones who are our age, as they're aging, they're getting a little better at actually minding the gap. When they were younger, it was very hard. Like I was in C-Shop almost 10 years ago. 9 years ago. So I would have been 17 again. So we're going back almost a decade here. You got to understand, a lot of these kids who I'd fucking interact with, like these wops from like the East End at like Dawson College, had only ever really like been in their little quarter of the city, right? Their little corner. I called it a quarter. It's not really, that implies that it's like a fucking, like a ghetto with like fucking underground tunnels. Did you see there was actually there was a synagogue in Brooklyn?
Okay, I saw
that had
videos
underground
about that
tunnels.
today.
Okay, maybe we could pull that up because I want to fucking get into some of the shit that's been going on in the world here. But yeah, man. So these guys have been in their own little like bubble for their whole entire lives, and they didn't quite know how to interact, I think, with a lot of other people. And they would just say, "Bah, why these white people, these English people?" Which is hilarious because you're speaking English; it's your first language. But these guys would call the class of people typically referred to in Italian communities as umanja cake. They would call them English people. English people. That's interesting. And there was this thinking that they're different than us because I think they hadn't really had much like crossover. And I will say that as I've aged, some of the people who I met back then, who I, by the way, befriended, I didn't stick my nose up to these people. I actually like them. I find them very charming. I like how frank they are, and I like how you could just say stuff around them. I like how when I'm around them, I'm not the guy that's most out of pocket. you know? Remember when Paulie Malignaggi was on the pod a few weeks ago? God love that guy. He's talking more than me. He's fucking making wild statements. And again, nothing's really that crazy that he's saying. It's not like really wrong. I mean, some of it's debatable. I don't even remember specifically what we got into on the pod. I think it was probably a lot of football talk, to be fair. But sometimes I'll talk to the guy in private, and like he just sends me all the anti-woke shit, and he's proud of that too. I'm not like exposing him. He's like, yeah, I'm an anti-establishment guy. I was a big Trump guy. He like loves talking about how he voted for Trump. I would have voted for Trump over Hillary, but I don't proudly talk about it regularly, you know? Now, if you ask me, is Trump the man? I'll say, yeah, fucking Trump's the man, you know? Was he on the Epstein client list? Yes. But maybe, I'm putting the blinders on him because I think he's the man. I'm willing to believe, you know what? No, not my boy. No, he wouldn't have done that. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. Now, again, I'm trying to look at it from a fucking objective lens. Was he involved? Did he might have known what was going on? Yes, I don't. But again, I'm not, when I say he's the man, I'm not co-signing everything he's ever done. You know what I'm saying? He might have killed someone when he was a kid. By the way, that's kind of cool if he did. It's not really, unless it was like unless he's if he wasn't being a serial killer and he like killed a guy in a fight or something, or someone tried to, if someone tried to hurt his brother and he killed the guy. I mean, that's kind of badass. That actually kind of adds to the lore of him a little more. But like when I say Trump's the man, it's not because I'm a Republican guy. It's because he's just the man. He's anti-establishment. I think Vivek is the man. I think Nikki Haley, who's a Republican candidate, she's not. She's decidedly not the man. Chris Christie is a big establishment guy. I don't think the world needs more of him. I don't think the world needs more of Nikki Haley. You know what I'm saying? She's clearly bought off by big corps, and I do not like her. Do I think Bernie's the man? Yeah, Bernie's the man. I think politically he's a little fucked up. I think he was basically a communist in the 70s. I got some issues with that. I don't think it's a very effective, I don't know how effective. I mean, it's proven to not be a very effective way of running the world, but he's still the man because he at least believes in what he's saying, and he's anti-establishment. Now, again, is Vivek Ramaswamy a bit of a sociopath, and is he a bit egotistical and narcissistic? Maybe. He might be. He's running for office, and he's a young guy who's made money, and he's like, fuck it, yeah, I could live privately and just get my dick sucked for a living, and that's it. But he wants to, be in the arena. Does he feel like a personal responsibility, to the world to try to save it? Maybe. I think a lot of these people just want to kind of be the guy who gets to save it. That's okay. That doesn't mean he's not the man. Is what is being espoused correct? Is it like coming from a good place? Yes. Okay. He's cool. Are you familiar with what Nikki Haley's been doing?
No.
She's like one of the Republican candidates. It's hilarious, by the way. She sounds like she's from South Carolina because she is. She talks like this. I'm Nikki Haley. How you doing? She's Indian, bro. Her parents are from India, like both of them. Like her name isn't Nikki Haley. Her name was like Parveet or something. She changed her name. It's insane. Dude, she's literally doing whiteface. It is nuts. Like it's almost impressive the level to which she's been able to pull off the whiteface thing. Does she not look like a white lady? She looks like a Southern belle. But zoom in a little closer. Look at the picture of her from high school, dude. She looks Indian as fuck. She is Indian. What was her birth name?
Born Nimarata Nikki Haley.
Yeah, all right. So she goes by Nikki, And again, not that there's there's no issue. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy is also an Indian guy, but it's just interesting. Like she feels a little suspicious. Again,
she can't be full Indian, right?
No, I think apparently both her parents are. Now again, I don't know that for a fact, but I believe they are. Now again, that's not really the point. That doesn't really change anything. It's just there's something weird about it. There's something weird about it. Like Vivek is just a guy who goes by his own name, at least, Whereas this woman's like, trying to reinvent herself or whatever. And again, I don't know that the people of fucking South Carolina would have voted for her if her name was, what is it?
Nimarata.
I don't think they would have voted for Nimarata. That's just my hunch, Again, my read on her is something's off. Something's off. It's a little weird. She just doesn't. There was like the guy that was mayor of fucking New York for a while. Was named Bill de Blasio. Wasn't even his real name. He wasn't an Italian guy.
What was it, Will?
It was like William Smith, dude. Yeah. Whatever. He just gave himself an Italian name because he thought it would sound more New York. How you doing? I'm Bill de Blasio. I'm here to pick up the trash and kill all the rats. I'm Bill de Blasio. We're going to fucking ramp up extermination in this city, let me tell you, because my name is Bill de Blasio. I'm from Brooklyn, and we're not going to fuck around. The Department of Sanitation needs a big reinvestment. I'm Bill de Blasio. Will Smith invests in the arts. that doesn't work well with a lot of the cohorts of people in New York City. You understand? Now, again, I understand why people do this in politics, but if it's done, it just that makes me kind of think you're a bit of a weirdo, right? So, Nikki Haley. I mean, she sucks. She's been bought off by billionaires. And here's the thing: maybe that's what we need. Maybe that is what the world needs. Maybe Trump's actually not good for the system. Maybe it rattles it too much. Maybe you can't have a guy that disrupts the system. Maybe we just need the merry-go-round to keep on spinning, right? So that people can keep buying houses and the debt keeps going up, but we're just going to keep sweeping it under the rug and, putting it off till later. Maybe you legitimately need a Joe Biden. Maybe you just need a guy who's going to go to war with countries so that we could have, a Western world. I say we're Canada, but I kind of think that whatever policy the U.S. adopts, we're kind of like sucked into. I know Trudeau will come out and kind of, he'll play the identity politics game wherever necessary with world leaders. But ultimately, he kind of is beholden to whatever the decisions are, by the big boys, So I'll say we as Canadians, as if we're kind of one and one with the Americans. But I really do think that we might need an establishment guy just for the shit to keep going. I don't know that Vivek Ramaswamy as president or Bernie Sanders as president is sustainable. It might just can you imagine if Bernie starts like kicking ass and taking names? If he ever it won't happen. But if he became president a couple years ago instead of Biden, he probably would have beat Trump. He could have beat Trump. That would have been great. That would have been a great fucking debate. You have the ultra capitalist guy, the real estate developer on the right, and you have the fucking the socialist on the left, and they're both anti-establishment.
Did they have a debate? I forget what happened.
No, I don't think they did.
They didn't have a debate that year, right?
Bernie and Trump never debated.
No, I mean Trump and Biden.
They did. No.
One of them got.
I don't remember one of them.
With that.
I think Trump got COVID at one point. I don't know if that affected one of the debate times, but no, they debated a few times. Pence wiped the floor with Kamala Harris, wiped the floor with her. But then a fly fucking landed on his head, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, the fly was the star of the show." And Kamala Harris she totally bombed that. But I mean, yeah, man, maybe the United States legitimately just needs an establishment motherfucker. Maybe they need Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, who just looks like a president and has no morals, totally morally corrupt, does not care, will do whatever the party line is, and maybe that is just what is necessary. Maybe the president is just a puppet. Maybe the president isn't supposed to have thoughts. But again, under Trump, shit was going pretty well pre-COVID. It was going great. It was going great. By all accounts. A lot of people will say his judge appointments were problematic if they're of that opinion, but forget about that. That's a political issue. The country didn't fundamentally fall apart. The infrastructure of the country didn't fall apart. RFK's the man. He was also on the fucking Epstein list, by the way. Now, again, what even is this client list? Everyone's talking about it now, but fucking, Stephen Hawking was on it, dude. And again, I know everyone's going to be talking about it this week. Stephen Hawking was on the fucking list. That's the biggest, to be fair, that's the biggest shock, I think, out of the entire leak. So it makes sense that people talk about it, but it's also just objectively funny, right? Because obviously the guy was severely paralyzed and he couldn't even dirty talk if he wanted to. And that's quite a sight. I think that might have been, so again, obviously we'll never know from the horse's mouth directly because he's dead. But I think Epstein was a guy who apparently might have been, so he was probably blackmailing people who fucking, you want to take the call?
No, it's fine.
You want to take the call live on the pod? If it's interesting, we can.
No, it's not.
I'm always open to it.
Don't worry.
All right. Is it
Mom.
Is your grandfather calling you from Kanawaki? If so, we gotta talk to. Think we could ever talk to your grandfather and get his experience about living in Kanawaki on the pod?
Probably not.
Sorry?
Probably not.
Probably not. Why? Because he wouldn't do it, or you think it's just a bad move?
I don't think he'd do it.
You don't think he would do it? So you know what a podcast is? I tell my grandfather it's a radio show. I tell him I got my radio show. So I think Epstein was like using, I think he was using like, you know, prostitutes to compromise important people or just prominent people. And it's been alleged that he was like a Mossad agent, that he was working with Israel and he was kind of using that to like get the United States, I guess, on board with the Israeli program. I don't really know how true that is. I feel like the U.S. kind of has a vested interest in Israel anyway because they're like a strategic ally in the Middle East. But maybe that's just like a spin that's been put on it, you know, given the fact that maybe Israel has the U.S. by the balls. I don't really know. It might have been a geopolitical thing. But I do think that from what I understand, I think he kind of like, he being Epstein, I think Epstein kind of lost his mind a little bit and just kind of enjoyed getting, I think he got off on the power a little bit that he had over all these like really powerful people. And I think he then kind of, began enjoying, I think he fancied himself smarter than he might have been. And he began like rubbing shoulders with like intellectuals. So that might have been what the Stephen Hawking thing was. But I'd prefer to imagine Stephen Hawking getting a massage and saying, turn me over, you know. Suck my cock. Because, and, you know, this is interesting. Apparently, my brother was telling me that apparently the condition he had did not preclude him from getting an erection. Somehow. You're looking at me crazy, but what are you going to look it up? You're going to fucking look up his medical records? You're like...
I don't know. I'm responding to the text, but I'm paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, like, apparently he could get a boner. So, I mean, it's hypothetically possible. It's hypothetically possible that Stephen Hawking got a massage from an underage model on Epstein Island, and Donald Trump did not. Who would have thought? Who would have fucking thought? Apparently, Trump. It's been alleged that Trump didn't visit the island. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. I don't know, bro. I also heard apparently Epstein's brother said that Epstein himself, Jeffrey, bragged to his brother in the 2016 election that he had enough dirt on both Trump and Hillary that he could fucking kill the whole election cycle. Is it any wonder that they suicided him? You know? Is it any fucking wonder? He was a liability. It had gone on long enough. Once it got out into the public space. The funny thing is, you know, we got all these fucking lifestyle pages, right? These fucking lifestyle pages. Vintage Classics is one of my favorite ones. Remember that kid, Gianluca Porru, who came on the pod a year ago? I was joking with him yesterday saying, hey, bro, you need to put out like an Epstein post and say, hey, Jeffrey Epstein living large in New York City in the 1990s.
I got to show you a TikTok.
What is it? This Epstein lifestyle? Just showing off Epstein's properties. Come with me to Epstein's hotel in Paris where he... Wait, what? Restart it. Restart it.
Could you please give us your name? Jeffrey Epstein.
Dude. You know what? I think Epstein needs a rebrand. Listen, if they could do it to Pablo Escobar, they could do it to Epstein too. I want to start dude, how long before you're going to have guys on like fucking Sigma alpha male TikTok starting to post more Epstein shit like this? How long before people start getting Epstein tattoos like they get Pablo Escobar tattoos, bro? Pablo Escobar blew up fucking half of Bogota in the 80s. People get tattoos of him. Dude, how long before there's going to be rappers fucking talking about Epstein? How long before the drop is going to come exactly like in that TikTok there when he goes, I'm Jeffrey. What's his middle name?
Did it say it?
Probably. What's his middle name? It makes it better. Because I was actually watching Epstein Filthy Rich on Netflix, which focuses only on the sex trafficking, which funnily enough is maybe like the least interesting part of that whole saga.
Jeffrey Edward.
Great. He sounds even more Jewish. He sounds like so Brooklyn, dude. It's perfect. How long before you're going to start getting fucking like beats cooked up by these producers who produce like type beats? Tyga type beat.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Jeffrey Epstein. You ever see these fucking videos? Pablo. You'll have like a producer that makes a type beat and it'll be like Migos type beat. Pablo.
In parentheses.
Yeah.
That's what they name it.
Drake type beat. Money. You know, Drake type beat. Cold breeze. Whatever the fuck, right? How long before we get, you know, Lil Baby type beat? Epstein. And the beat just, dude, the drop just comes right when he goes, I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein. Boom. Dude, it's going to happen, man. They're going to rebrand him because they're going to say, yeah, you know what? Because one day it's going to be, dude, one day, Sigma Alpha Male TikTok's going to go so far that they're going to say, yeah, if you could actually get like a woman to just perform some kind of sexual act on you like Harvey Weinstein, they're going to rewrite Harvey Weinstein too, dude. They're going to say, dude, Harvey Weinstein was a powerful motherfucker. All he had to do was snap his fingers and they would suck his dick. You're going to have people coming out and saying, you know, that wasn't really rape. It's not really rape because he didn't hold them down. He asked for it and they gave it to him. It was just under like threat of duress or kind of under threat of, you know, he was holding their career over their head, but he wasn't physically holding them down. You're going to have some people that are going to argue this shit and say, you know what, Harvey Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein was actually just a baller because he could just snap his fingers and he would have women that were afraid of him that would say, yeah, we'll do whatever you want. I'm telling you it's going to happen. It'll get rewritten. You could see it happening. It's already starting now. It's already starting. Because, dude, I'm reading about Epstein now and I'm like, dude, the opening scene from Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich is him in an interrogation like the one in that TikTok that you just showed me. Send it to me, by the way, so we could overlay it. But it's him in like some interrogation and they ask him. Again, he owns it so well. They go, what's your name? Jeffrey Edward Epstein. And they go, have you ever been charged with any crimes? He goes, soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution. He like owns it. It's like, oh, all right. He's fucking, was he proud of it? Again, just don't, if you say you're sorry for anything or you regret it, it's over. It's over. That's when they come out. But if you're kind of like, yeah, this is how the world works. I procure prostitutes and I procure minors for prostitution and I leverage very powerful people. We film them having sex. They perform sex on me. Dude, maybe he was kind of like Berlusconi, you know? Like, you know how like Berlusconi like fucked underage people? The funny thing about Berlusconi is he did it like by his own volition. It wasn't even like blackmail. He just did it. He was like, yeah, let's invite her to the party. Berlusconi's thing was, he's like, what, am I gay? I like pussy. He's like, I like all pussy. Mi piace la figa. Che ne so io. Is it young pussy? He's like, I don't know if it's young. I don't know. It's 14-year-old pussy or 18-year-old pussy. I don't discriminate. I see pussy. I like pussy. And now I'm kind of making him into like a Trump-like character with the hand motions here. But that was Berlusconi's thing. He would just be like, you know. And a lot of guys are kind of like, hey, respect. He's like, what am I, gay? Yeah, I like pussy. Do I know if a pussy is 18 or 15? When I'm inside, it feels like a pussy. What do I know the fucking difference? I don't ask questions. I don't discriminate. I don't ask. I don't tell. No one needs to know. I like pussy. I'll take old pussy. I'll take 37-year-old pussy. I just like pussy. If it's in front of me, I'm going to look at the pussy. I'm going to want to touch the pussy. That's all it is. I don't even look at her head. How do I know how old she is? I don't even look at her face. I don't look at her face. I'm not interested in her face. I just want to touch her pussy. You know? And again, Berlusconi ran a year and a half ago for prime minister. He was allowed to run. It wasn't an issue. We're going to wrap this pod up here in a sec here because a little conflict of interest. Not even a conflict of interest. What the fuck? I don't know. We got a time conflict. You know, like when you're in school and you're like using the fucking study rooms and someone comes in and says, I got the room. We got a gym next door and my mother's about to start her training session. And because we mistimed this. So, hello, Jordan. It's best we not say her name. We're going to bleep her name out. The pod gets a little buck wild. We don't want anyone's name dragged into this shit. But no, come on in. We're just wrapping up over here. But yeah, so, listen, it's time I move out. I think it's high time I fucking move out. Isn't it? Agreed. No one. I was talking to my mother, Jordan. What are you doing? I don't need outside validation. The funny thing is, if I move out, it'll be to a fucking like condo, dude, and we're just gonna wind up right back here, dude. This is gonna be the studio anyway. There's no way. My mother's in the room next door. I can't get into the fucking Berlusconi pussy bit again. I can't fucking. But no, dude, it's happening now, man. It's happening now, man. Where they're turning the tide on Epstein already. It's happening now because look. Once they know what was really going on, I think once people start accepting, yeah, this was like this was a political thing. This was a way to control people. They'll be like, yo, he was the most powerful man in the world. You will have people say, listen, it's pedophilia legally. But were they 3-year-old boys? Hillary Clinton was drinking adrenochrome from 3-year-old boys and sacrificing them to the gods. This guy was just fucking people that look like women. You're going to have people that are kind of going to say, is it really the worth it? So that's what's coming. That's what's coming. You know when that'll really start? This year when Trump runs. This year when Trump runs, that'll start because you will have people that'll say, yeah, he was on the Epstein fucking client list, but Epstein himself wasn't that bad, you see. It's the mental gymnastics you have to do in order to kind of support a guy, you know? I'm man enough to say, yeah, he's the man, but he was on the client list and Epstein was probably hoping to compromise him. I'm going to, listen, whether it's true or not, I'm going to tell myself he didn't fold. Trump didn't fold, and Trump didn't fucking go down with the, I don't know, he didn't go down to the fucking, I don't know, to the island. I'll tell myself that. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. You got to shape your own reality now. We're in a world now where we shape our own fucking reality. We're fucking posting TikToks of Jeffrey Epstein with the island and the lifestyle. You know? You know what? The best fucking lifestyle is him. I'm going to join a Total Campo team. I'm going to do it. I have no choice. I will do it, man. If you'd like to have me on your team and you're in Montreal, please, I'm open to request. I'm a free agent right now. I'm a free agent. I have had my back turned on me by my people because they weren't really my people. I need to join my own people. I need to rejoin my people who my parents left. They left that neighborhood. I got to go back to the fucking neighborhood, dude. I got to start playing soccer there, man, where I will be the most enlightened individual in the entire league. I'm going to start going by Samuel. I will. What do I do? Do I just go like buck wild and start like becoming one of them? Or do I just become more of what they think I am, which is this little soft fucking, you know, English fruitcake, for lack of a better.
Naturally, you'll if you do end up playing with them, you'll just like.
I'll pick a side and it will and it will feel right. Whichever one feels right is what you're saying, basically, yeah. Right? I guess we'll keep you posted. I can't wait to start fucking playing with these people. Do it, I will. I'm gonna come at you with like quotes. I'm gonna come at you with fucking quotes from these people. The shit they said. I'm gonna say, guess what I heard in the changing room today? It'll be a fucking weekly segment. I'm Sam Adamo. Subscribe if you're new. Dilo, thanks for doing this. Yeah, anything you want to add?
I got nothing.
Trump 2024. Are we a Trump 2024 pod? Are we endorsing? We're a Canadian podcast. We can't even fucking. Nah, dude, fucking.
If you're in the States, vote for Trump.
What's up?
If you're in the States, vote for Trump.
Not necessarily, man. Not necessarily. It's too early to tell. He might do some crazy shit, man. Already the January 6th stuff is kind of like iffy. It might get, dude, you don't know, man. He might do something fucking nuts.
I just love everything that comes with him.
Well, whatever you love is going to happen. More of it is coming. It will be a very exciting year. And it's starting, oh man, the Epstein list getting leaked like the fucking first week of January. We're off to a great start, man. Anyway, okay. My mom's getting trained in the room next door. That's our cue to cut this shit off. Much love to you all. Alla prossima. Ciao.